excuse me, it is 8:30. Would like to call the meeting to order, and if someone could motion to approve our agenda, please.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion by Holmes, second by Armstrong. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, it is public comment time. We have a guest in the room. Do you have a public comment this morning? Do you have a public comment? Okay, no public comment. We'll wait to see if anybody joins additionally online. All right, we'll wait for JD to arrive. Don't have much in our claims file.
Can't run out of money if we don't have any bills to pay.
No, I guess not. I think that's the only one that needs signed today. Whoops, I think
We got
got JD's.
excuse me. So is it getting better?
Well, yeah, I thought so. Here you go.
Sir.
Oh, that's it. Did you guys, anybody need copies of the minutes to review again, or did you already
No, I
get
went
that?
wrong.
I looked down, it's been a few days. Look at mine, it's all right.
Do you want a hard copy?
I'll just read.
Essex is 51638, isn't it?
Yes. Good morning.
Chairman, sorry I'm late.
Pardon me? Sorry you're late.
However, I have news.
Yes.
New granddaughter was born in Kansas City.
Oh, congratulations.
Congratulations, JD.
19 inches long, 6.7 pounds.
The way your kids are producing, is there any way you can get them moved back to Dade County? Because we could use the candidates here. Yeah.
So how many grandchildren do you have now,
I
JD?
have 8 grandchildren.
8?
Wow.
We got 5 daughters.
Well,
You know, the odds are okay.
yeah, I'd say that's pretty good.
Talitha, some obscure biblical name. They're gonna call her Tally.
Tally?
I mean, I got Emily, and they call her Millie. You know, if you're gonna name the kid,
Name them.
name her what you want.
Yeah. Yeah. We don't need 2 or 3 names, do we?
Well, that's
Yeah.
in a modern way.
Yep.
How about that? So what time did you say she was born?
I got a text this morning, no time.
No time, okay.
In fact, Talitha has arrived. That was the first message. no data. I said, I gotta have data. People want to know.
Well, yes.
So I sent you the, good morning, it's JD, ready for the engineer's update, and then we have an agenda item later.
Okay,
We're hauling rock and eating out of the districts. Retriever's still in use and garnering phone calls. The pipe crew's working on the Northborough oil. Continue, there'll be probably another week there before they move on to a different spot. I did speak with Manats. They'll be here working on the base stabilization and auto seal coat, thicker than normal seal coat. They'll be in, they plan to be in the first part of July.
okay,
And they also have work in Fremont County to do so, he said,
Which road is that exactly? Which ones?
that's the Northborough Road to grind cement powder in and do a double seal over the top.
North of Northborough, I think.
Yes. We ground it up last fall.
Yeah.
And some to shape it up better. And then the stretch from east of the Braddyville Bridge around to the intersection there south of the port. Basically where the J55 turns east, continues to the Taylor County line. So that project should be in the summertime.
okay.
The spray patcher crew is out, prepping the spray patcher, making sure it's working. And they checked the tank over. We have had outside entities calling to know if we have oil yet. And this would be Nebraska City over in Nebraska. So this is a good example of sharing between local governments, cities, counties, even the DOT uses our oil tank. And it's a benefit to all entities. They don't have to drive. I mean, sometimes Nebraska City took their tank that's on the spray patcher, took it to Sioux City for oil. We have the Sioux City guys come down and bring us a tanker load at a time. So it's a benefit to them and a benefit to us because oil is used faster. It does have a shelf life.
Okay.
So I would anticipate getting oil in next week. We're reshaping some roads, doing narrowing and crowning up, but prior to the rock haul. And again, here's the map of our local rock haul, which was done a couple weeks ago, or the contract was led a couple weeks ago for this, and that's some of that.
It was 41 miles, is that right? 41?
Yes.
When do you anticipate they'll start hauling?
Probably 3-4 weeks from now. We've been talking with Schubert.
Any extras of those maps? Or
Yeah.
I'll take one to the next one. People are asking.
And
that's on our website, or was going to be?
we're gonna be,
Okay.
Got this
as soon as
somewhere.
I get in touch with Corey. 42, one of our tandems still in Omaha. Motor graders number 4, which is in the southeast, is due for a service this week. And we need to start working on soliciting bids for our new equipment. There's long lead times for trucks, and that's always been, but pickups are that way too. I've just been told, and so whether it's the COVID or high demand, I'm not certain, but we could.
It's a chip, one of the chips that they put in the electronics, I just found Yeah, and they're back ordered, way back ordered. So that's what shut down all new manufacturing new cars.
Great.
Yeah.
Anyway, the construction continues on the bridge on J20, the F20 bridge on J20. They poured the posts last week. Tomorrow they should pour the open rail on one side, and then Friday the barrier rail on the other side. Then there's wings to be placed, and the bridge approach paving subcontractor is scheduled to be in on Monday, next Monday, whatever.
May 3rd.
May 3rd. So there's the approach paver, and then there's the concrete paver, two separate subs. It was a DVE thing, I think. He needs some more credit for DVEs. Anyway, that's coming along as planned. I think we're on schedule with that bridge, as long as we keep the subs coming in on timely manner. I talked about base stabilization. Base stabilization problem. Late June and July. We're doing some project development on a couple of closed bridges, the one on F-36 in particular, up on G Road, G Avenue, near Mississippi. Proposed repair, I kind of alluded to this last week, that instead of fixing the pile that was bad, we'll probably replace this wooden bridge with a large pipe.
And before harvest is kind of maybe the plan on that?
Yes, yeah. And that should be, given that we can get the pipe on order, and get it in, of course, steel prices are higher than they were the pipeline. Continue to develop a bridge down on 280th Street here in Buchanan Township. A couple weeks ago, we did the budget program evening meeting, and that's been approved by the DOT. Just a reminder that I believe it's usually in May, the auditor has a budget amendment for the current year. We will need to do that for the road department because of extra expenditures on weirs, both expenditures and revenue. And that's all I have for the engineer update. Any questions from you?
Go ahead.
I talked to JD about this. I was asked that Sandy Phillips called me. She lives down by the rock quarry, down by Shamball. And she's got a big concern with dust down there. She lives just between where this pavement's going to stop on the corner, and then you go north to the rock quarry. Her house is right there. She's called Jericho, is that right, to do some of the oil. Dust some by her driveway, but from on to the road, to the intersection down there where you turn off the curb, she thinks it's pretty dangerous. She didn't want to oil all the way to the curb over danger, but she said it's pretty dangerous there with the amount of trucks and the dust on that intersection. She didn't know what could be done about that, because she's doing some, if there'd be anything that we could do with that. I know everybody's roads are dusty.
Right.
So, but she's got how many trucks a day are in there, I don't know, but it would be unbelievable.
Yeah, it would be a big number.
But this is no change from normal.
Than the way it always is.
Actually, some, because of the work there, there'll be a week or so where it's closed, so there'll be less traffic during those parts only. There'll be some traffic, it'll be construction traffic.
Right.
But, of course, that's not the kind of relief she's looking for.
These, and I was asking you just roughly, what is because I've never done this before, what is the cost to do one of these applications, or 3 in the summer, or whatever, per foot, or
Around $400.
per how many feet?
300 feet.
About $1 a foot to do 3 passes of it,
That's close.
somewhere in that
Usually
ballpark.
3 applications.
I wonder if the quarry would entertain a
And that's
discussion.
what I told her. I said, call Shieldberg and see if they'll do it. And they didn't act interested, that's what she said. But that makes a lot of sense, that they would step up and do something.
I wonder, JD, if you know, we're a big customer of Shieldberg, of course. I wonder if your contacts with them, if you'd sit down and see if maybe they'd even consider a cost share with the property owner. Because that would be annoying. I mean, she is in an unusual situation there.
Sandy Phillips.
The county doesn't generally do dust controls
Right.
for individuals unless there's a direct project involved. For example, if the detour for the F-20 bridge was through July, August, September, then we might consider
Dust control.
dust control on the detour. However, I believe by the end of May, we should be near done.
Good.
So that'll move traffic back on the paper.
Speaking of dust control, what are the regulations of which our graders go by? Property owner A has dust control that he or she is paid for, and they live close to an intersection. And then the intersection gets all rough through traffic. Is there something we can't grade?
If we tear up their dust control, we do put it back.
Okay.
For some reason.
So that
But
really,
they flag it or they mark it, all the blade guys know who has dust control in their territory, they have maps. And everything. Year after year, the same folks get dust control.
sure. So I can't remember, it was north of Bethesda, a landowner was saying that stretch between his house, his driveway, and the Stanton Road gets not waterboarded, but washboarded. And he's frustrated because the blade operator says, no, I can't blade it between certain dates. What's that? And they can't blade it again until November or something by
Well, we
contract.
try to stay away from it. And yes, they do supplement because there's a lot of maintenance on it.
The only other question I had, on about a quarter and a half mile east of Stanton Road on 160th, there had been a pole with that pipe that kind of eroded. The pole is not there. Has there been some work done there? I mean, it looks like we've got some significant erosion on the south side of the street there.
160th Street,
Yeah.
between the church.
Yeah, between the church and the Stanton Road. I'd say it's probably, well, it's no more than quarter mile east of the Stanton Road.
Look at that.
And there used to be a sign out there, or a pole with a flag. The flag is gone. But I can't tell where they really
So
were.
the optic marker kind of thing?
Yeah, well, it's showing that there's erosion on the side of the road. If you go off there, you're in deep trouble. And the flag's not there anymore. It doesn't look like any work's been done.
Okay. Are we ready to entertain the next?
Yeah, I think, do you have any questions?
No.
I didn't include this. I didn't include this in the submittal to the board last evening, but currently, the corporate limits of Essex looks like this. A nice rectangular shape extends out into the ag land on all sides outside of the city of Essex. So the Essex corporate limit does already include ag land.
Okay.
What the city of Essex is proposing to voluntarily annex, in other words, the people that own the ground, the Johnsons, are three sets of Johnson that have interest in these two parcels over here on the west, along 150th Street. The city of Essex limits, corporate limits would look like this. So I believe, as I understand the email from Alon Sorensen, the city's lawyer, the Board of Supervisors of Page County just needs to acknowledge that we know that Essex is voluntarily annexing some ground. There's a couple of 40s outside their western boundary. So I think it's yes, we know they're doing this. And then they do some more things, and then I think we have to note that again in some fashion. I think it's as simple as that. That's I hope
Yeah, it sounds,
my explanation in maps and sketches was sufficient to take care of questions.
What drove this, I think, in summary, correct me if I'm wrong, JD, is that over the river there's a bridge that currently is a county bridge. Okay.
Correct.
So the annexation will allow, if approved, if the city chooses to do so, would open up some additional funding to fix that bridge.
That's correct.
And bridges are, I mean, you're probably talking $1 million project on that bridge.
More like
Is that
2.5.
2.5.
2.5, okay. So the question that I wondered about is, okay, if that occurs, how many tax dollars does the county lose by allowing that to happen? It looks to me like,
about 300.
yeah, about $300 a year is what we're gonna lose, and on a $2 million bridge project, the math is pretty clear.
Yeah.
But I think it was important to note that part of the advantage for the county to support Essex in their quest to do this is that we're gonna get to that bridge a lot quicker if we can access other funds.
Sure.
So they just want us today to acknowledge this.
Yes.
I'd make the motion that we acknowledge the proposed voluntary annexation by the city of Essex.
I'll second that. Okay, we have a motion by Armstrong, second by Holmes. Any other discussion? Hearing none, I call for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion is unanimous. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, JD. Thanks for your work on this project.
We'll see how it goes.
Yep.
Mr. Chairman, I have a contract from the pipe job that we awarded last week. The contractor has now signed it.
And we've got the bonding and all.
Yes, we have a proposal bond just behind that.
Just this top copy you say? Oh, the bond is behind that up here.
It's
27.
27, okay. Thank you.
Thanks, JD.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Speaking of construction and such, I did see Chad Masher over the weekend, and he's gonna be working down here at the farm before too long.
I've got a question about that. I don't know the right time to ask. I had somebody call and ask about that deal. Colton Berry called and was curious, called me just to know the trees they're gonna take out. Is there anything people could do to cut that for firewood before they take it, before they burn them and bury them or haul them off or whatever? He's interested, don't anybody else be interested, just mark the trees they're gonna take out. He just wanted me to ask if there's anything that can be done with that.
Well, you know, it seems wasteful, but we had kind of that discussion, we had a party or two parties that wanted to come into the house and look for woodwork, and it being outdoors may be a little different, but the concern we had was one of liability. Now, I don't know if Chad could push him to one spot.
If he knocks them down, then it'd be
Yeah,
a lot easier to get them, but
we probably ought to check with Carl and get us.
see how that works, because, you know.
Yeah,
But no, you hate
It
to
makes
waste
sense.
it. If somebody could use it, you like to be able to, but, if you don't mind, just check with Carl. Carl says it's okay to bring it back.
and organize it, yeah.
Yeah, we could.
Yeah, because if you can get that firewood use, it'd be much
Is
better.
it first come, first serve, or, I mean, is that how that works? How do you decide who gets it? I mean, is it,
Well, that's part of the problem.
I mean, he showed interest, I don't know how you do that, right? But it makes sense.
Yeah, and that was part of the problem with letting people into the house. You know, clearly there was danger because floors are rotted out. And then if you do let one in, then you have to let everybody in. And who knows, who might, I was kind of curious after talking to the gentleman, what might be in that old house to go in and look, but
I know old farmhouses, we had one on the farm a long time ago, people will bid
Mm-hmm.
on that wood and things in there, if it's anything of value, they'll come
I know.
tear a lot
I
of it
was
out of there.
surprised. I was surprised to learn there could be some value there, but again,
Boards.
It's a
you might,
little,
excuse me.
it's a little more challenging when it's
If a person put a bid on it though, then they could, like any bid we do, they could have to have their own liability insurance or something.
Yeah,
yeah.
Some people make a bid and carry liability insurance against them falling down, it's not on us.
Yeah, no,
I don't know if there's anything of value out there, but if there was, they might.
well, if you don't mind,
I'll
visit
ask
with Carl
see
about
what he
that and
says.
see what we possibly can do.
Okay.
All right, we're running a little bit behind this morning. Discuss what is next for jail planning. I asked to put that on the agenda so we can kind of regroup. It's been a while since we've heard a presentation. I think in total we've heard 4 presentations. And I guess I just want to get a temperature of this board of where we're at and what the next steps can or should not be. So just kind of an open discussion. Whoever wants to start.
I'm just gonna say it's 4 very different presentations. They all had character, they all had different concepts. After visiting with several different of the counties in the area that have had different people do work, they've all had similar problems, whether it be, it's almost always in the construction that one of the particular subcontractors that got the low bid was maybe not as good as everybody else, and every problem I've heard of, whether it was at the very best project way away from here or the very closest project here, they all had similar issues with one particular process of the building, whether it was the plumbing, whether it was the roof, whether it was the heat, HVAC, whether it was just the general architect. And there was just always some area that they had a weakness. Didn't matter who, almost all the supervisors I talked to said it really probably wouldn't have mattered who they'd have gone with. Everybody they talked to has had one little issue that always comes back to haunt them. So I don't know.
I think it's a just abnormally inflated building cost right now. And all these consultants base their fee on the total project cost.
Yeah.
Everything's inflated then.
Right.
Their fee and the building material.
Right. Yeah.
If I wouldn't build a new house right now. It's abnormally inflated. We have inflation, but this is, so it has to, we've got to see this level out.
Yeah, and of
for a
course,
sense of normal than building materials.
and of course, on the flip side of that is, right now is the lowest time to borrow money.
It is low
And,
interest, but
but with the, I know what you're saying with that other end, which is it going to be better, have lower costs, lower fees,
Right.
and higher interest? Or, you know, it's really a challenge to, yeah.
lumber has just,
Oh, just the short.
plywood is unbelievable. It's not a normal inflation.
No.
Or even a spike. This is crazy. And normally it'll come back down. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure. That's the $100,000 question.
Right.
When will it come back down? There are literally billions of infrastructure dollars being pumped into the economy. So there's little,
It might be a
incentive.
while.
Yeah, it could be a while.
Yeah.
So I guess with, you know, and then I think, I don't know, I just feel like 2 or 3 years from now, we won't have as cheap a money as we have now. So where do you get that? But here's kind of where I'm landing. I think if we believe we're gonna build a perfect jail that's gonna serve our needs exactly for the next 5 to 6 decades, we're probably fooling ourselves. There are gonna be challenges along the way. We can't, none of us have a crystal ball. The jail study, the data to get to a point where you're looking at I mean, to me, the first step, whether you build a jail now or not, is something that is in front of us that we could accomplish. We've got money budgeted in this budget for a jail study that does 2 things. It gets us more information. It helps us understand maybe more clearly what the need is, because I think the need is a moving target in my mind. We've got, and I've had a conversation with Lyle yesterday. I've talked with others in law enforcement over the last month. My biggest concern about building this jail is not whether we have a sewer problem or whether we have a room that doesn't have the right venting. I mean, those things are going to happen. My biggest concern is over the next 50 or 60 years, what do we build that serves us operationally? Look what's going on in our world today. Look what has happened with COVID and courts as an example. How do you plan for what technology will force us into? How do you plan for the impact of the George Floyd verdicts and the impact on detention centers? I mean, let's be honest, there's a lot going on in our country right now that, to me, that's the biggest concern, trying to figure out how we're going to plan for 50 or 60 years.
Yeah. Well,
So,
and I know that Lyle has noticed that there's just been a great change in our county here with the level of extremes, it seems like, what's happening as far as some of the offenses and some of the level of offenses and some of the reoccurring, and it's changing dramatically. Our whole society has in law enforcement and mental health.
I think we're seeing a lot more repeat offenders in the jail.
Yes, yes.
I don't know if that's the Department of Justice or Department of Corrections or where it's coming from, but they're coming out quicker than what their sentence is by fall. So we're seeing a lot more in there. I had someone that's supposed to be serving 5 months was coming up with medical issues because basically it was open sentencing, and even though his crime should have been sentenced to 2 years in prison because of the repeat offenses he's had, it's not.
Right.
So we're going to do 5 months. The thing that Chuck and I talked about this yesterday that I see is we don't know where we're going. Talking with some of the people in the construction business, whether it's federal or local, I don't know if our costs are going to come down in the next 5 years. And in March of 18, we had a structural study down on that jail, like Rohaska. And they said for 5 years, basically. And we're already 3 years into that. I know that building costs are expensive. And Jacob had mentioned plywood, there's not going to be a lot.
I know a bit of plywood, but a lot
You're
of,
going to be concrete, which is still.
and steel, a lot of steel, a lot of steel.
And a lot of shortage of
a
steel.
lot of shortages.
And copper.
Bingo, you're going to have a lot of infrastructure. Chuck and I talked yesterday, and the thing to try to plan for the future is, one thing you got to remember, the jail is not for the sheriff, it's for the staff within them.
Mhm.
It doesn't matter who the next sheriff's gonna be.
Mhm.
It's whoever is there working in it.
Mhm.
And those can change too, and what the needs of our county are gonna be. And we don't know exactly where we're gonna be at. We don't know what the court system's gonna do up there. The Department of Justice is gonna say, nope, we're bringing it all to one county and the district. We still are gonna have
Yeah.
prisoners, jail, whatever you want to call it.
Mhm.
We still have to handle it. And that's what we look at. We talked about technology, where's it gonna be at? Are they gonna be able to put a bubble around there so nobody can tap into our infrastructure on the computer or the technology? We don't know that. What we need to do is make sure that when we do this, at the best price we can, in other words, getting the most for our money, is maybe when we run the conduit, is it concrete or whatever, to move infrastructure, to move lines for the computers, the phones, or whatever we have. We need to plan on, instead of maybe putting a small piece of conduit to move all that, maybe going with a bigger piece of conduit that fits in there, that maybe costs another 50 cents a foot, or 25 cents a foot, whatever it's gonna cost when they come down to make sure that they can run one of those lines if they have to. A lot of places are running overhead. That works too. We've got to look at where the other counties around us go. We're in a very good situation right now because you talked about it. I don't know if there is a perfect contractor that gets everything right out of the box. You're going to have issues. There's issues with Montgomery County. They would have changed it. Mill County, Fremont County. And there's things that we have to look at and do that. I think the biggest thing right now we need to look at doing is moving forward. Have someone do the study that's competent in it and knows exactly where we're at now. And maybe they can look forward to the next 20 years.
Mhm.
I don't know, like Chuck said, maybe they've got the crystal ball that we don't. I wish they did, because I would love nothing better in 2024 when I was done, to have somebody set in there that they look back at 20 years and say, those people designed this, they what they were doing. We don't know. There's issues even with Montgomery County as well. You know, they would have done things different.
Oh, yeah.
Mill County, same with Fremont County. All of them have things that they would have changed, and that's why talking with them is important to see where they're at. Do the needs of Taylor County meet the needs of Page County? Do the needs of Fremont County or Mill County or Montgomery County meet the needs of Page County? And as they find, a lot of the things we've done in the past with what we can do, you know, everybody said, well, let's not do that because we're getting to jail. When we put in something, video visitation, that's ready to hit the ground running right now. They're already doing it on their phones. Or their little iPads that they rent per day. They're doing these things. That can all be moved to a new facility. Our guardian system that we walk around and do jail checks on, brings up everybody's name that's in that cell block or pod. This time, it tells us exactly what their medications are, when they get them, and everything on it. It tells us who is in that pod. And they all have bracelets, like a big hospital bracelet that they scan before they get their medication. All that stuff and the tiles that are now currently on the wall will be moved to a new facility. We're trying to look to the future to make sure that when we do something, we can move it now. I think we need to move forward with this. It's up to, you know, you guys, who you're gonna choose to move forward to. And I don't know, it's kind of like going out and buying something. Yep, this cost is the cheapest, let's go with that. How much down the road is that gonna cost you? Whether it's in construction cost, whether it's in they didn't provide this, or whether their contract, where are we at? We have to go with the people that have done this, know what they're doing. If you want to, you can take a quick tour of the facility they're doing. We've had all the proposals. There's a million companies out there that do this. And I think the longer we can, the farther behind we'll be. Because I don't see construction costs with the federal money that's being thrown out there by this administration in the market, we're looking to be at in gold. I think right now our infrastructure there is something that we need to actually seriously consider doing with it. part of this, we kick this around, I'm not saying jump today, but the part of it is kicked around. I think it's gonna cost the citizens, the taxpayers of the county more than it will. I already know from previous jail that's been built here in the area, that if you start transporting, you're gonna put on more personnel. And the people that suffer are the people that are paying taxes, because we can't provide them with the law enforcement that they're paying for and that they deserve, because we're out there trying to tax them.
It costs both ways. It costs to build $10 million jail versus a $5 to $10 million jail too. Well, I mean, there's cost. They're gonna have a tax burden either way. And rushing into things, we're not rushing, we've heard 4 people, but I mean, anytime I make a decision of this magnitude, you better have total peace about what you're doing.
Yes.
Peace, I mean, pretty general peace.
Is it gonna cost us right away with transport, or is it gonna cost us down the road?
This is why, and I appreciate your input very much, Lon. This is why, yeah, we said weeks ago, this is a marathon, this is not a sprint. I still believe that is very true. And, I do think that out of the 4 jail presentations that we heard, each one of them, the first part was you need to do a jail study. To me, that makes some
That's
sense.
True.
And what I would encourage, I want everybody to think about this, if we get it on the agenda next week and decide, it's not a discussion, but here's what I'd like you to consider. And we pick somebody to do the jail study, and then we form a committee of experts to go help us go through that data. And this committee would include the sheriff or his representative, a jail administrator, someone from the 4th Judicial Court System, someone from the Mental Health Disability Service Board, and get these people all together to go through some of this data to help us get a vision of what we really realistically might need. Then we can start looking at what the projected costs are, and then we can have the discussion as to whether or not that's a good value for the taxpayer. Does that make sense?
Yeah, on the jail study side of it, we're gonna talk about that next week, to get the 4 different people we talked to. Some that we kind of confusing how they presented what it's gonna cost. They had pieces and parts, and some do little, some do more. So we need to almost put together what each person's offer is, basically each of these outfits.
Right.
To see if we're getting, because some of them were considerably less than others, but were they doing less?
It could be.
Or were they doing the same? So
We could ask them
to put together their complete, I think they kind of did in a way, but redo that since that's going to be.
re-summarize what a jail
Summarize
study.
what your jail study is and how much.
Okay.
And how much you get back if we choose you.
Yeah.
We'll have them applied that back to.
Okay, okay. That makes
Sounds
sense.
good. Yeah.
So we can request this, see if they can turn that around and have it on our agenda for next Tuesday, if they can get us that data. But I think, taxpayers expect us to continue to work on this. And yes, it's gonna be a painful spend, whether we build a jail or we don't build a jail, start transporting. None of us know when that's gonna occur. I've reached out to Delbert Langley, our jail administrator, and our jail inspector. And we got a good report this year, but the writing's on the wall. I mean, we're 80 years into this jail. They're not gonna let us have that forever.
I've thought about in this jail study thing, thinking about this bouncing around. What if we, like anything else, they're all hungry, they all eagerly show up here. What if we let them bid to do the jail study?
Could do
Let them
that.
bid it, because they're very hungry, they seem to be. They're very eager, and all good business owners are eager, even if they've got a lot of business, but maybe we could look into that, let them bid it. Well, we're getting a study done, and as long as we tell us exactly what they're bidding, we'll do, lay something out. Might take more than a week to put this together, but
Well, I think that price they gave us is kind of their bid. That is what they're, so in perspective, I don't know if you would.
well, and maybe if we say.
Unless we write out
What we
exactly
want
what they're
in our-
going to do, I don't know how, and I
Maybe
don't,
we need to look at their summary then, to see if they're all
Right.
where they are, but they know their bidding and their summary.
I think reevaluating the summary and the price, I think we have to make that judgment. Otherwise, otherwise, if you want to write the bid proposal up, and I don't think I want to have that responsibility. That could be rather complicated.
Because they all four approach it slightly differently. I mean,
Yeah, they all have different levels of what they do at first, and they all have their strengths in marketing. So I think the one was more geared into it had some marketing involved in the jail proposal. And they had more stuff done up front than maybe the other ones did later on. So I think your basic idea though, Jacob, of asking for their summary of what they're going to do and their price, I think that's going to give us a pretty good idea. I really do.
of what you get for that cost. But then the additional follow-up question, because at least one of the firms said if they were selected for
Right,
more
then
work,
that
then they'll
comes-
rebate, they'll
yeah,
kick back.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So, okay. Well, if that sounds, I'll reach out to all four of them
Okay.
today
Okay.
and ask them to send us all summaries, and assuming that we can know by Friday that they're gonna have a summary in our hand for the meeting.
They might need 2 weeks.
They might not,
I don't know.
Yeah.
2 weeks, yeah. 2 weeks.
So that would put us, if we did 2 weeks, that would put us into an evening meeting, and that's fine too. Maybe that's
Sure.
better.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll give them 2 weeks and do it on the, whatever date that is, the 11th, I believe, of May. Okay, but I think,
But I
taxpayers do
yeah.
expect some action, and inaction is an action. Okay, maybe that's where we land. I'm not saying, but for my money, we have money earmarked in this budget to do a jail study, and I think that regardless of whether we build today or build tomorrow, you're gonna have to do a jail study. Not a lot is gonna change between now and 2024. That's when you wait that long.
I think we need to be doing it.
Yeah, I agree.
Like I said, it doesn't matter to the sheriff, as long as, and I think the Chuck mentioned the jail, so that first issue, we have to take some pictures, sending some documents there because of the COVID restrictions that they have. And he actually didn't physically show up to tour the jail like he usually oversees. So it's one of those things that it's just like if you had all these machinery that do out there work. You gotta do maintenance on it. Maybe you say, okay, I put X amount of dollars, you can have $10,000 in the machine, it's not even worth 15. Where do you draw the money?
Depends if the new machine costs 100 times more, you might go ahead and do it. So I've done both sides of that.
You do it for the next,
Right, how long do you want to last?
and go from there. You've got to be cautious about what you do. My basic thing is that over the last almost 30 years now, the jail law, now 30 years, the law is the other day. You have to keep your people safe, keep the public safe. And then you have to kind of look to where you're going to be. Where are we going? Check box, where's the court? We don't know. They don't know. Are they gonna consolidate and try to make it 99, make it 45? Are they gonna make it 20 for 4? I don't know what they're gonna do. We don't know. The bottom line is we're still gonna have to house them down the road. So we're still gonna need a facility to do that, or get ready to spend some real big dollars down the road. And if we throw those away, housing, why couldn't we put those back into that? It's like, if I rent a car for so long, and I get nothing in the end, why didn't I buy one, make that rent payment to pay off the car, and then get something equity in?
Well, the other consideration with getting a jail study and keeping the conversation going is, we're getting, $2.9 million from the federal government that could be used on a jail project. We can't use them on tax relief. But if the stars aligned and if, we had a shovel-ready project, and I'm not saying we can get there, but if we were to get there, we've got till end of 2024 to expend these funds. And therein, that would be a great, 2.9 million on a $10 million jail. Our radio system was 1.4 million. We'd throw double that in a jail. I mean, that's something that
Something you can look at.
we need
Maybe
to
it's not all the people that really, but it's still, you're getting this, utilize it to where you're gonna need it down the road. So the tax, the higher.
Does, this is a question on that, it can't go to lower taxes or, tax relief, but infrastructure can go through like a jail possibly, what we think.
I think
maybe.
Alan's trying to-
I was thinking, it's uncertain.
Yeah.
I wonder if adding additional chip coat seal paved type roads would be an infrastructure thing. That would be, the county would, a lot of residents would be very excited to hear more.
All
of that.
true.
No, you're right. No, you're right. So even if you took two of the $1 million and put the other $1 million toward other infrastructure on roads.
Yeah, we're still waiting for more guidance from everybody.
Yeah.
It's just like, Conservation Department has got a real problem like out at Raft Park with that road system. They'd like some help getting that done. And I suggested to John that he talk to Melissa to find out if the Secretary of State had any guidance on, because part of this whole package deal has relationship with kind of COVID related items, and parks are one of the areas where people are, I said, so could that be a gray area that can be worked in? I said, I don't know. I said, but let Melissa do a little background check when she has time with the secretary to see if they have any guidance yet from their aspect. Everybody's got guidance, but nobody's willing to tell us what it is yet. They're still arguing over in the Department of Treasury on how they're going to do this. And how we have to, every dollar we spend, how do we send it back, showing how we spend it, and then does it have to be approved? And then how much risk are you willing to take? Because if it's not approved, then you have to figure out where the budget is going to come. It's really, really nerve wracking. So, and I know that you guys have been receiving a lot of emails from NACO, and every one of those, it makes it sound like there's something new in it. There's nothing new in it. So
I'm convinced we're gonna have our money deposited well ahead of what we know how.
We did find out what they expect out of us, how to handle it, and I know that Melissa said the DUNS numbers we already had, getting hooked up with sam.gov, which I understand is not easy because I had to get hooked up supposedly for something one time through the federal government. It's very complicated to get done. I think they're in the process. So for us to receive the money, we have to have that in place before, in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, whenever it comes. It's just really, they're going to send us some money and we're not going to still know how to spend it. But that'll probably get expanded past that 2024 deadline, like they have everything else, I'm hoping.
So, speaking of infrastructure and things that we have, can you give us an update? I had gotten a call from Janet Olson about something at the VA, and I hadn't heard an update. So I called Pete, I talked to ICAP, and they said you were on it. So where are we at with the?
Basically, we've got the hole in the wall where the car tried to drive through that building patched on the inside and sealed up on the outside. When I talked to Gil last week, we're still waiting on the steel to rebuild that wall. It's not available, those purlins. And they don't have any idea. None of the manufacturers that are making that has got anything to come into the system. So therefore, they can't do any of the repair work until that wall is rebuilt. He's got the tin, we've got everything. We're just waiting on to know what the steel is going to cost and if we can get it, when we can get it. So it's sealed, but it's not perfect. Oh,
We're done, yeah.
Just gotta go like that.
Okay,
We're
see
kind
you.
of short staffed,
See you. Thank you.
Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks,
And
Lyle.
send our condolences to
See you
Charles
later.
and the McCullough family.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So that's kind of at a standstill.
It's kind of at a standstill, and I talked to Gil and Kim again. I'm gonna guess it was probably Thursday when I finally got Kim to call me back. No, it wasn't. It was a week ago, Monday. And I just said, as soon as you know something, let me know so I can. I've left a message with the property adjuster, but I've not heard anything back from him. So I don't know what he wants me to do, because there's nothing we can do. We can't move forward. State Farm has contacted our insurance company, so they all know that they're responsible for paying for it. So it's not going to cost us anything. We just can't do anything. It really stinks.
But I think in talking with Janet, they made arrangements. Zion is our renter in there.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
They're making do, but they'll
Yeah.
be glad when that's
Yeah,
fixed.
yeah, so will we.
So, okay, thank you for the
Yeah.
update. Appreciate it. Okay, next up, approve our minutes. Do we have a motion to do that?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, motion by Holmes, second by Armstrong to approve the minutes from our April 20th, 2021 meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. All right, it's time to adjourn. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you
Thanks.
for joining us on the web today as well.